Hello, I'm Dmitry. Glad to see you here again. So what we will talking today about the new ceiling design we have here and how it works, and we will test it as the last time we tested those ceiling designs, if you remember, if you watched it. So here we have, let me check. So let me check what the setting I have here for the so we will have here slightly faster. It will be slightly faster. So this is I have set up real-time ray tracing, and because of that we could see it immediately. We could see immediately the shadow, the almost with the quality of visualization, CG visualization. And so here we could understand how we like the ceiling design, how we don't like it, and yes, and so the last time, if you remember, we were working on that, not working, okay, just contemplating on the pattern, and as found out that the pattern, I haven't found any particular advice for you, just what you'll use, what you like. Although for this one, personally, I like the deeper profile and more saturated view, and for that one I do not remember. Yeah, we were concentrated on the circles. We just tested with small circles, bigger circles, etc. So I'm using the Unreal Engine here to test it. I like it very much. Actually, this is so this now works not so fast, but we will close another one I have in background. Maybe it will give us a faster result. So as soon as I do it not for the game, that's perfect, especially because of those ceiling designs aren't low poly. It is a real geometry, and if you have a look here at the profile here, so you see it is real profile, not just a picture and something. That profile here is pure geometry. Okay, and if we're speaking about technical details, so Unreal Engine is ready for that amount of geometry. And even if you know, for example, I wanted to show you another project, just because in previous if you watched another streams, there was about that, so why not to show you what is going on here right now. So here, if you have a look at this setup, you see that the furniture here, I'm not interior designer, so I'm doing only the plaster decoration design, ceiling design in particular, because it is the most automated for me right now. So because of that, you see here the furniture is just this one longer and this one hanging in the air, just I don't know, it's not important. The scale, it is here for the scale and for the feeling of how it is habitable. Maybe not habitable, but just to feel in the scale of this room. Because actually the room is a huge one, and the only reason why it seems that the ceiling is so low is that because of it is a wide one. It is often so. So if the wider room, will looks like with lower ceiling than the more narrow one. So you see here, I'm working further on the project, so this is the very schematic view, examples of the portals. They will be those portals, so we are discussing with interior designer. In this project there is no interior designer, what is bad actually, because I do not know the colors, I do not know preferences about those. It wasn't discussed with client yet, because now our responsibilities aren't in there, so it will be better if I work with interior designer. So, but anyway, so this is another version of ceiling design. If you have a look, probably you remember that I told that I do not like the idea of having two pawns here. So the beams at the center I could not remove. There are real beam behind it. And the real one isn't symmetrical to the room because of replanning and repurposing the building. And so because of that I have this doubled one, and before I had it repeated here, repeated there. So the reason we are now with this setup with two pawns, one on this side of ceiling and another one there, is because of the love to the symmetry from the client. The client believed that everything before was made on purpose and therefore should be symmetrical, somehow connected to each other. It is kind of true, but historical interior, the interior which imitates the historical style, could convey the story of the building, the story of the family. It's kind of, in 18th century our family made the reconstruction, and we rebuilt here the ceilings and the ceilings of 18th century. But in 19th century we have decided, in the middle of 19th century we decided, and then in early 20th century we have made a few changes as well. So that's kind of story could be in old building. If you buy a real property with history, it is definitely like that. So the ceilings could be classical, the walls paneling could be baroque or opposite. So that's common, and even Gothic element could be there. So for my opinion it is not important. So but we have heard from clients a few times already that she wanted symmetrical there, symmetrical here, so we are kind of scared to show you the picture with the beam. I will show you. So let's have a look. So you see here, and before we had another picture. I could show you the picture, this one. It is more interesting. I love it. I love that here we see two different beams and another one, and here another, and so this is so saturated. So as a designer of ceiling design I like it, and there's still no decoration, so I will decorate later, because placing all the decoration on the beams, it will take time, and I like this one. Actually, I was so eager to protect it that I've changed many details on this profile, and I've changed a lot of small details, trying to tune the ceiling and to protect this idea. But finally it's occurred to be that the door here you see, the door here you see isn't under the beam, and when we add, I could show you the early sketches. So when we add anything like a portal or something, because it is some kind of English style, what we want to achieve in the end. So you see here, and so that's not on the one axis. So x, not on that one x. And so here we are, and another one I want to show you is that I've added the ceiling design finally. So I've added this ceiling design here, and that's what I wanted. If you remember, I wanted to get here the feeling that this light zone, and I believe the client also wanted, because I've mentioned it a few times. So that because of this situation with pandemic, we haven't met client personally for a while, and so there are questions. But what I want to show you, so here we have a darker room with our lounging area. Okay, I'm sorry, I will try to. Okay, let's do it like that. So here we have a lounging room zone, and where everybody could sit in watching TV. The light will not hurt the TV screen, reflection I mean. So here this is the room, and there we have a light zone with another style. As I told you before, the story could be here, so it is less English style, so it is more French style ceiling design in there. So here we have this portal. It is just schematic, very schematic one. And you see here, so we've lost it slightly. We've lost slightly the saturation. So although here we see again on this picture a few beams, they are all different, so the picture is still saturated, and it is not important now that the axes aren't in one plane. So here is the same. So this is the look I like. This is the look I like, that I wanted to show to achieve this contrast. And the story of this ceiling is also interesting, because you know, people usually value the most what they spend time for. So for example, if you are trying to do something hard, you believe that you need to do that, and there is actually a trick in negotiation of price. Some companies do it. If it is happened with you, think about that. So for example, if somebody make the negotiation more hard, you are thinking that those negotiation needed for you. You have to win that contract. You have to win that contract. So that's sometimes happened, and it is not only because of you really need that, but because of you are so involved. You did so much effort, so sketches, drawings, and the client starting negotiation and discussing the price, and you're so much involved in the project that you love it. So what I'm trying to say here right now is a much simpler thing actually. So here is a PLC 13 design. This is this design. So design here, which we see here, and the walls is a difficult thing to design, especially for the long elongated room. So for example, I could show you here. So let's make it false at the moment. So if we a few parameters here. So here you see the padding on this ceiling. It is here. So yeah, it is here, but it is not. So let's have a look at the. So you see the padding is here, but there's no padding between the angle and the. So here, so you see there's no padding. It is connected. So if we add this padding, okay, we made the wall even more narrow. Okay, and if we have a larger padding, you know, for the rest of, you know, for the rest of your eyes, so I don't know, maybe like this one. So it is became more and more, and even, you know, it's completely broken with some padding because of the wall is could not be built. So actually, so acute angle here. So, and it is now and completely destroyed. And so could be June, I do not remember, 19 probably. It was 90, and oh yeah, you see, and if we delete it, so. And what I'm trying to say to you here is that the freedom you have with decorating Pastiche.design is exactly the freedom you need sometime. And if you start to draw this ceiling design, will you play with those? I mean, if you are a CG artist, okay, you have this task. This padding with no padding, how many variants you need to satisfy the client? And this is my internal tool. I work with it, and I use it all the on the daily basic. So I have created it, and now I'm trying to make it open for everybody. So, and another one thing to show here, so is this, so let's, you see here we have a profile, and this profile actually, okay, so this profile, kind of this type of profile, you know, something like here. So you have some up here and here. I don't know. Oh, sorry, something like that. So this is the profile we have here, and this part is far from the center of all, and although it is still acute angle here, if you have a look at the here, yeah, okay, you see still it is not, it is much more smooth, this part, than it was with larger padding, with double padding, but still it is quite small radius here, is the radius is quite small here, but the this accent here, this accent here on the profile give us the feeling that this is wider. This is kind of, so this is the accent here isn't here, isn't it the narrowest part of the overall, but here, so it's getting more wider, and what it makes possible to put here a roller in such a narrow space. And also I want to show to you, it didn't work before. I didn't know why. I have changed nothing, but it didn't work. Now it should, I believe. So another profile. So yeah, that works. So another profile here. So let's do F11. So yeah, here what we have? Yeah, Pili. No. Yeah. We import it to see what is going on here, and I'm sorry. Re-input it, but okay. Yeah, I've put the baking on the false. Okay. Yes, and the accent is different. you see, and everything is different right now. We could have here, so let's create snapshot here. Okay, F11, back the profile. The profile here is 0, 1. Okay, and we re-import it here. The past it is not so, it doesn't have a lot of polygons. So now back to the full view, make the picture and have a look here. So we should have here our pictures. So yes, and you see how different it is. What I have changed here, only the profile, and it has a completely different appearance, completely different style, completely different accent. Even here you see it is less noticeable here, this acute part of the overall. It is wider, it is so that the profile here more saturated. Those profiles of different decorations, so they are both typical for classical ceiling design, but they will have a different decoration. So for example, this one could be, you know, some baroque huge carved element here with flowers, with rocaille, and so beautiful one. Or maybe it could be just a wreath of flowers or vegetables. Or for this profile, it is typical. The another one is so let's do it like this. So another one is it is the same somehow here, the same somehow here, but it has kind of this arc part here, something, and here this element, and it will have another. So here, probably here could be a reef of maybe a laurel reef, kind of that, or here could be some carved element. So it is more, this is just another type of they both legitimate for this style. So let's back to our new ceiling design. So this one, I personally like this one. We will discuss it with client later, but what I want to emphasize is that collaboration with Pastiche.design and Decorite for CG artists gives this freedom. So it is kind of, you know, kind of freelancing, but not freelancing because we are based on the templates I'm preparing, and you see here, for example, this simple oval is relatively simple script. Oh no, that's, but this part is preparation for export. Here, and if we have a look at this ceiling design like PLE6, so here it is again even simpler, by the way, maybe because it is just one pattern. So you see, and I have already done, so why on earth to do it again and for you? And if we're speaking about, I'm sorry again, and yeah, of course I lost the idea. So that's the, so if we're speaking about the collection of decorative elements, collection of patterns you use, so it is already solved. So if you are using a collection of Give Pixel Bridge, for example, or any other collections, so in this time it is, you know, you could not buy such things on the stock, and I will not put it on the stock, because the stocks, I don't know which pattern do you need. you know, which pattern, this one smaller, bigger. So let's have a look at this pattern now. So first of all, the size. So we have here, you see the frame. It is not on the Pastiche design yet, but it is already available on demo. So you could. So you see here, the first thing we could do is this scale, managing this scale. But before, so for this profile, we could not make it smaller because of our flowers here is too small. So let's start from them. So this parameter here. So I do not know, will it be real time? So let's try it not real time. So it will not be, it calculated slow. Okay, I know why. So what we should do here is to do it faster. From the side is not, and so way here we have cut false. Okay, and then we'll show another part. So okay. I'm sorry. Temporary for the demonstrating purpose. I'll do here another thing. So I will put it. Okay. So okay, now we have our pattern. You see, it is completely changed its way. The way it's looking. So let's make it bigger. So, and it is actually closer to the idea which was requested from architects. So this I do not have a particular plan for ceiling designs. I'm doing it. I don't know. Maybe I should do first research and figure out which ceiling design more popular and etc. But the investment are low, so it is just an instrument I'm showing you and inviting you to use with me, and develop through working with you. We develop this together. So you have questions, you have requests, and yeah, and I have changing the features. So this is the request from architect we have. So yeah, you see here the additional decoration. Maybe next stream about sculpting in 3D will be about this ceiling design. I think maybe, although that there it is two rosettes, so I've already covered rosette cover. I'm sorry. So I already already did one about rosettes. So you see this one more close, more close to what maybe this square, in a square. So make it more bigger. Oh, I'm sorry. So the cutting is still. So okay, but it is fast anyway. So let's make it, I don't know, 30. So it is not real time. That's why, by the way, when I'm designing something already on the Pastiche design, I usually myself working on Pastiche design and then adding this. So you see the square getting take more accent here. Okay, and it is became less looking like grid, and now we could put here some picture, or so that the accent changed. And so let's have a look at our designs. I mean, this one could be closed, but so I mean, let's have a look here. So what do we have? How will this work? So okay, and the first ceiling here is the size of 5.5. Okay, and 4.5. Okay, and So we have cut false, wake true, so the cut true. So okay, now we have this waked, and therefore probably we could here re-import it. So this one is the first one, therefore it should be somewhere here. Somewhere here. Waiting for. Yeah, but somehow there is no cornice. There is no cornice somehow. Why? So why? Have a look here. Oh, I'm sorry. That's all the time happen, but it is usually easy to fix. Usually it is easy to fix. So the cornice coming from here. So this is our cornice. It is here. So that should be here. Yeah, because we have here 3 elements, not 2 elements. Okay, it wasn't imported 3 and the 2. So one. What is this then? Yeah, back part. Okay, so let's do something like that. It's funny, but so that will trick our algorithm right now, not to make it too complicated. Okay, and we will and we should disconnect this one. So now we should re-import. I haven't tested it here, and just forget that here was only 2 elements already, so it will not bring new elements somehow when re-importing. Don't know why. Don't ask me. Just okay. You see, I like it very much, by the way. So it is quite suitable to this ceiling design, and the accent could be, so if we for example have some pendant lights here, we could put them more, not for so much pendant lights, no, maybe the picture or decorative element, or sculpting elements to put there. So we could check this out with another profile, probably. No, I like this profile. I've tuned it especially for this one. It is the same profile closely. It is the same profile, yeah, but it is more slightly lighter than the one we used last time. So it is the same composition here. So we have a bead here and shimmer and some frame around it, but it is not so deep as the previous version, and also it is slightly subtle. So slightly subtle, the bead slightly more subtle. So let's change the pattern. Avoid those big squares. So because we could make accent on them, so I like them. They are empty right now, so maybe it doesn't look perfect, but so let's avoid them. Let's so to do it faster, we could so what parameter we have here? So the inner square. So let's just make it smaller. Just make it smaller slightly, and ready maybe even 15. Okay, so it's still accent on the square, so let's make square small even. Okay, also, so it was not absolute number. I do not know the sizes. So the design first. So the beauty is first. So I will measure it later. So, and if you are interested in technical details, so we could have here a look. So not perfect. So looks slightly automatic mesh, but because of the structure of this of those profiles here and how do I use it, you will not notice this here. Even subdivision will work. So if you will subdiv the mesh, and you will anyway not notice imperfection. I mean, you know, yeah, I think if you are working with CG, with polygonal modeling, you do know what I'm talking about. So, I mean, sometime when you do the mesh skew like that, so it will destroy the geometry. But you see here, it isn't. It isn't. So it is perfect. It is absolutely normal curve. So you see, and the reason is actually, so what I'm doing here, if I have the surface, okay, with this profile, and I'm putting the points on the surface. Okay, and because of that, it doesn't matter how we like put those points, because they are lying on the same surface. So and you see here the mesh isn't perfect. The mesh with some curves here and there, but there's no distortion. There's no distortion anyway. Although that there is no distortion. Okay, so what we have done, we made the square smaller. So let's have a look. Maybe to make a screenshot of this one to compare it. Maybe, yeah. I will post it on LinkedIn later. So let's make it. So node camera here, resolution screenshots here. Okay, so we have it. Now let's go back here and allow the baking, allow the cutting, and allow the baking. So let's first do cut. It takes time, of course, in the bake, and re-import it here. So you see everything fast, everything on the fly. So I could even make the profile for you in the conversation. So yes, so the same pattern, and I won't notice that it will not work like that. So I won't notice that it looks like it is looks more wider, although it isn't. Okay, let's have a look at that. So what we have here, you see this one and that one, and this one looks more spacious. I don't know why. Maybe because of those star flowers. Let's call them flowers. So they are smaller and they manage the scale. Yeah, I like this version. If we do it without the additional decoration, I like this version more. With decoration, I don't know, here could be some interesting pictures inside of this. Some accent could be built here. So for example, we could accent here, accent here, accent here, and we will have some kind of composition, interesting one. But if we compare it without decoration, just like this, I like it more like this one. I like more this one. So what I'm thinking about to check this out for another room. So we have here file name, so put here one, and we will redesign it for another room. Another room is square one, by the way. That doesn't look like square. Ah, yeah, because the CVT haven't changed the sizes. Okay. 4,000. And here we have again 4,000. So I'm leaving pattern the same. Okay. And now we go here and we have version 2 and re-import it. It is not here, so let's walk through and see what's going on here. Yeah, that's quite decent pattern. I like it. For the small room, here one star at the center, and just so I like it very much. Maybe to make it smaller or bigger even, to make this smaller or bigger. Let's make it smaller to see, to check because if you are watching it for Unreal Engine, so I'm using it not in the way you are probably expecting. So let's make it smaller. So first of all, to work faster, I will switch off those and just change sizes. So maybe 1 meter pattern. And I won't say to you that typical pattern for wall paneling or ceiling paneling is 600 centimeter wide, and I do not use anything smaller than 900, and usually those looks better, surprisingly much better, because 100 centimeter is a half of pallet. So one pallet is 1 meter and 200 centimeters. So 100 centimeter is made to the purpose of transportation from China. It is not the pattern which is best for your project, for your design. If you work with interior design, I will recommend to emphasize that, because or if you are an interior designer, so then you should think about this, because every time, so remember that just it is not made for the design purpose, it's made for the transportation. So is it really so in this case? Because it could suit, why not? Sometime they could get it the right size, but it's better to test and remember that it is not tested yet. So smaller one and more adjusted to the edge of corners. Okay, and bake it now and re-import. Maybe we needed a screenshot. Yes. So yeah, I like it as well. So beautiful pattern. Smaller one also work, and so maybe have a look like that. So let's make it, maybe because of the ceiling design maybe lost because of the photography. It is hard to make photography with ceiling design, so make it as I remember it accentuate. So let's make the wall darker. So yeah, even smaller could be now. So if you have a look, so it is so saturated, this accent. And so yeah, I have the logic in my script. It is automatically calculate the optimal amount of patterns repeated, and because of this logic I do not control what is in the center. So sometimes in the center flowers, sometimes this maybe it is bad, maybe I need to control it somehow. Maybe this should be added later on to later versions. Okay, so I do like what we've got here. Actually I didn't made anything what I do not like today. So no, I mean because of it is just a pattern. It is not exactly the design of mine to be proud of. It's just a few movement of the design, because the design is deeper. Actually the design will start when you will purchase the time of mine, and we'll start to discuss together how to adjust to your particular circumstances, to what you want to achieve, to the feeling you are looking for. So that's the way the design will start. So here I'm just playing with the parameters and trying to figure out what to talking about later with you and which advices to give you later. So let's make star smaller, I think. Not the star, no, the star. I call this one inside this a star. That's the naming is always interesting. So let's make it 60. Will it bear this? Yes, and we still have here the space inside. So let's have a look at this pattern and how will this change our perception of this ceiling design. So we have here. Yes, that's okay. The mesh isn't broken. So I do not have protection of this. When the profile is wider than the hole here, it could be the mesh could be broken. Do not have this protection, although it is possible to make, but it's custom. So cut is. I'm cutting it right now, so and then bake it and then re-input it. So where it is, second one, re-input. So that's perfect. You see, we have here immediate result, and for my opinion, just for my opinion, this is better for smaller room. For the smaller ceiling design, those flowers getting, I like them actually as a plaster. When that feeling of when you, I don't know how to call it, run a molding. Moldings. You run moldings. And I like the rosette, the small radius. Sometimes the profile, when it's plain and straight, doesn't look as saturated as when it is a rounded one. You could see it probably here as well with me. So you see this one and this richer shadow. This one has a richer shadow. This one. So I like it. I like this design. I like this version of this design, and I want to say that it was a surprise for me. So I started doing these ceiling designs well, after one interior designer requested that. So she requested another pattern, pretty Chinese one, and for the pretty cheap project. And actually, the only reason was why they requested, because I possess a CNC machine, and the pattern was small, and it was cheaper to do. So, but as soon as I'm doing everything parametric, uh, when I started to play with that pattern, I understand that it is bigger than that. I've showed here. I tried to here to pursue here to make this the changes. Actually, it didn't work because times, projects, so that it is already was designed. Again, there were not so many monies, and that project is not always we work on luxury. Sometimes we work for quite cheap design. So the last ceiling design is a long one, and for the and you may notice here that the perception of ceiling height here. So we on the same height here, okay, and we in the same height here. So now, so okay, and you see the room is slightly wider here, and the ceiling is slightly lower, and there the ceiling is slightly up. Maybe yeah, because of also the let's return some light walls here. So maybe not, no, maybe wall paint, so maybe white. So I have ceiling also white, but for some reason I don't know why. Yeah. No. Let's return. I like it this way more. So the last one. I mean the last room, and check it out how will work for that. So here we have the cut is false, the bake is false to work faster, and now we change the last sizes are 6 meters by 3.5, so not so big rooms I'm examining here. So you see, so actually I like how does it looks. Maybe with such square pattern you will never got the exact, because here are the exact coincidence of this, because here the flowers anyway on the different distance from there. So is there the reason to make it bigger? I do not know. Maybe let's see, let's have a look, because of, so why not? And I think will be enough 60s. Oh no, it will be broken now. I have forgotten a zero, so it will be broken. Too small. And even you see yeah. It's just something, it did something. Have a look at this. Wow. So not so bad protection from mistakes on my script. I don't know what is that, but it will not work anyway. So yeah, so I want this flower to just touch. 90, okay. yeah, to just touch. So now cutting them and cutting them, the most difficult operation, the most time-consuming operation is cutting and bake as well. And re-import, what we re-import here, what we re-import here is the last one. Okay, re-import. Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't changed the name. I haven't changed the name. Okay, what the way is it? The name is here. I haven't changed the name. So you see that works quite well again. Quite well again. Maybe smaller, bigger, or smaller could be bigger. Don't know, but let's make the flower bigger. The flowers bigger. Let's make the flowers bigger. That is here. So cutting false, bake false. So the pattern leave us at this, but the radius of these flowers should be bigger, but you see that it is actually smaller. Okay, and the square, let's leave, we haven't seen that, we haven't tested this before, so let's make it, maybe in this case we could make it smaller as well. And so the idea of mine also to, yeah, smaller, I think smaller. In this case we could use smaller pattern because the flower was touched and that was the idea, so let's make it smaller. Yeah, it isn't smaller, it is bigger. 1000. Yeah. Okay, that's enough. Now cut it. Okay, bake it. And I want to make a screenshot of this. So let's make it somehow of the wall. Yes, something like this. Okay, 11 screenshot. Okay, so we do one, and now we re-import again. So what's so it's 2 times. I don't know why. Maybe pattern smaller, they form more details here. Interesting. That looks quite different. So looks like the flower here are the most important accent. You see, here we have diagonal pattern, here we have rectangular pattern, and that's because of the size of the flowers. I call them flowers. So I definitely looks more diagonal for the longer room, because this make accent of this elongation, so it is kind of in the row parallel to the long side, and it is creates here the accent. So this one somehow broke this perspective view, although the flowers repeated it, but those diagonal accents give the feeling. Yes, it is. I like this in this way. I mean in this way, but I mean, oops. So we've checked every room. We have checked every room, and around 1 hour is already here. So as I said, the ceiling design isn't available on the website right now. When it will be, I'm sorry, I do not know. I will try to make it faster, but no promises at the moment. And just because of, I do not know quite. I'm working now on the new editor. I mean, when you press here Pastiche.design, catalog, and you see here editor. So this editor is the real script which creates everything here. So those design you see here is demonstrated with this editor. But the editor made to show here pattern and here show here the specification. So it is kind of a proposal for ornamental plaster designer, real production. So this pattern they will make as a model, and because of that it is important to have this picture and have the entire picture of the ceiling. So for the proposal. And yeah, if you don't have here unnamed and unknown, and you could not edit it, it's because you are not registered. So, and if you registered, you would say stream dinner room. Okay, so now we know that this stream dinner room, and if we share this, the client will got not just the offer of the design, but he will know that this is from stream and for dinner room. And also you see here my name. It's also because of I am registered. So the price total. So okay, could, because I'm registered, I also could offer some price for this. The ceiling design realization. So not the design, but the design is worth of. So here you could see if you get this edition. So yeah, so that's half an hour, and for half an hour we will do a lot of work, believe me. So we could change a few designs, we could change the profiles, we will have discussion. So we probably, I will not design the room for you, but if you have already room, I could put it into Unreal, or maybe I will design it some room like this one. So just to check this out, so some simple room with simple setup. So anyway, we will see the circumstances. So why I started to show it, and so yeah, I liked this. I mean, to use it instead of use this one also. So but I do not know when it will be here, when it will be available. But as you see, it exists, so you could just call me and contact me anyhow, and we will, if you need exactly this pattern. This pattern, by the way, is also quite versatile, so it is, like, and here we could make the radius smaller, and then will be something like that, or maybe like that, and the central square smaller, but overlap is bigger, and we will have. I haven't tested this one, maybe should test it more. Yeah, because usually you see it in this version with a small square or with no square at all. It is quite common. Which one? 30 millimeters, so 60. So by the way, 60 millimeters, typical pattern. And for the room, I don't know, smaller one, let's take a room of 3 meters by, I don't know, 2, 5. It's a very small room. So yeah, for such small room, it is okay. Yeah. For the room of size 3 meters by 250, this pattern 60 centimeter is great. So you could buy Chinese one. That's so I have nothing against Chinese particular. I have something against the pre-built so not designed, not crafted design. That's what I'm talking about here. So okay. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you like it. I hope you understand the importance of this approach to the designing something right. And the ceiling cost usually quite high. So if you design for real interior design, not for gaming or movie, then I would recommend for a movie as well. That sometimes it is better to spoil something good than not. So for example, I could give you this example, by the way. So let's the last one, okay, just because of I've been saying that. So let's have a look. So here where it is this location, the last one we used. It doesn't matter actually. So let's open up ZBrush. Okay, and here we have import. It's FX, so not totally, but test on free. Open it up. Okay, so what we have here is this. Okay, and shall we divide it? Yeah, that works. You see. Okay, geometry, keys, polygroup. Okay. Yeah, I have small imperfections here. Haven't fixed it yet for some reasons. Yeah, it's still. But a part of previous designs here, I have just plane behind, and this plane was smooth. So let's auto group, and this one we will split hidden. So what I want to show here, okay, and control divide. So if we make here the remesh, Okay, if we made a remesh here, so let's say not too big one, because remeshing works well with thin geometry as well. Okay, it will take time, but it should cope with this somehow. I hope so, at least. I won't show that when you have perfect geometry, okay, and you use something to smooth it. Oh, it doesn't work this time. I'm sorry. It doesn't work this time. So what we could do? Okay, I'm sorry. It works fine, but not exactly what we needed. So geometry. Let's divide only once. They'll higher. Then merge visible. Cancel merge where is visible. Oh, okay, now nobody visible. Merge visible, so we have here merged element, and then morph target storm T. So W, not like this one yet. Maybe you like it, I still don't. So like this one, so create difference mesh. Now our difference mesh, and we display property flip it. So now we have a kind of solid version. Okay, and we could remesh it again. So what I'm trying to say is that usually plaster painted heavily, and I have a few examples here. Could I find it? So yeah, for example, so it is an example or real example. So you do not have a much of details here, and my approach, my point of view is you should not, and you see here is much more detailed. So here sharp edge was, and some so after the cleaning up, some I do not remember, so guys from the fibrous plaster group on Facebook, they did it, somebody from them. So yeah, I constantly copy something. And here's the greatest example. I'm sorry. You see how awful, how heavily painted it, and because of the thickness of old paint was too thick, and it could be just okay, not paint, and it is much more subtle and more detailed actually. So if you have a look, it is not my restoration again, so it is files from the people I'm watching, I know somehow, or somebody knows. So if you, if you leave it in the comment if you need it. So you see how subtle it is, how many details here on the ribbon, on the flowers, so, and how bad it is here, so how less detail. And the plaster, ornamental plaster, fibrous plaster, is the bad daughter of architectural decoration because of that paint, because of that some people who do the restoration not accurate lost those details. I was once here in St. Petersburg of the complete loss of all details with restoration. All details were lost with bad restoration done for Capel here in St. Petersburg, the main hall of Capel. chapel, no? Okay, we could okay, probably. So, and that was because the guys was hurry up in haste, and they wanted to make it as fast and as cheap as possible. So sometimes it happened, and and some people do not want the plaster looking new, because they sell old building and they want that looks ancient. So that's why we lost so many details sometimes. But what I want to show you that here is that we've got this here. Yeah, do not see the details. This one, so okay, that's not enough resolution. Just that's not resolution. What the remesh did, it makes slightly thicker from the surface, and you know, maybe I show this next time. This maybe in the bigger resolution. Okay, maybe bigger resolution put here. Maybe it will start to work. Maybe the profile is too subtle to show that, but it creates something like a shell around the profile. So we have a perfect profile here, and okay, and it puts a thin shell over it. Okay, this function in ZBrush, and it gives this feeling, this appearance of heavily painted plaster. And if you want this feeling and this appearance, my approach is, it is better to spoil something good, very good designed, than trying to repeat this, you know. Instead of trying to repeat this, my approach is to make it proper and then spoil it to the level you need it. And because there, not so, of course, if you finish, if your plans is like that, then of course not absolutely necessary to do every details, but some of them is better to keep better to make in this way, in a more procedural way. So here again, so it doesn't work. I'm sorry, this time doesn't work. But probably maybe here on the profile you will notice better. So it is like that one. So, and after heavy painted, it is like that one. So yeah, to be pardoned, maybe smaller ones should be taken. And so also I showed you that this has subdivisions, so ceiling designs could be subdivided and further sculpted over. Pastiche.design, ceiling designs from Pastiche.design. So, and that's all, definitely all. Thank you for watching. I hope you like it, and press the likes, watch the sculpting session as well, and so see you, bye.